Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome to another episode of Trudge Report. We are recording this live on Friday, April 12th from our respective undisclosed locations. When you hear this, hopefully it'll be Tuesday morning, first thing. Please download, like, follow, share, and rate us on all of your listening platforms, Apple, Spotify, iHeartRadio, or wherever you get your podcasts. Those of you who like to see our pretty faces and watch us on YouTube, those will come out a little later in the week, typically on Fridays. If you do like to watch us on YouTube or Facebook, that's totally fine. Please do that. But at the same time, please go on your listening platforms and like, follow, subscribe, etc. That's how we get the downloads, and that's how we really get the notoriety. If you like it, please pass it on to a friend. I'm here with my boys and fellow trudgers, Bill, Corey, and Greg. We are brought to you by Stella Mix Podcast Management, as always, the wonderful Miss Janine Stella. And we are happy to be here. If you hear any background noise on my end tonight, it is because I have a handful of 7-year-olds running around in my house. I don't know if you can hear that. I certainly can. But I'm good to be here. Good evening, gentlemen. How's everybody doing?
Yo.
Awesome.
I'm good.
One of these days we'll get that nailed down a little better.
We just got to find the rhythm and stick with it.
I'm still petitioning to just remove that because of the overlap every time. But
I would like to be asked how I'm doing.
All right.
Okay. Well, So, Bill, we won't ask you anymore. Corey, you get the floor. No.
I want two of them.
You want two of them? All right. So we got. We're gonna go right into our Around the Horn segment. I definitely have a few things I want to say tonight, but let's go ahead and start. We'll start with Corey, since you like to be asked how you're doing.
And I like to
Around the Horn, Corey. How's everything going? How is your week been?
First off, long pause. No, I'm just kidding. Can you hear me? Okay. Do I sound okay?
Good. You
do. It was good. We're gonna get into the funnest part of my week in the segment, so I'll save that for that. However, the only thing I wanted to bring up is, maybe you guys can enlighten me, or maybe not, on why in the hell, the Philadelphia Eagles have to go play a game in Brazil. Like, why take a home game from the fan base? Does that make sense? Does it make sense? Or is it just the NFL cash grabbing? If that's it, tell me so I can sleep tonight.
Well, it is a business, so it's probably cash grab.
And Philly stinks, so
I mean,
what more can you say? Sao Paulo, Brazil, or Philadelphia, Pennsylvania? It's not really that difficult of a.
Yeah, which place do you think the players pick? They would rather play.
I'll have you know, I was in Philadelphia this past weekend, and I only saw 2 syringes on the ground, so that's pretty good.
Did you clean them up? That's all I want to know.
Were they
you cleaning the streets of Philadelphia?
Old habits die hard, and I just put them in my pocket in case I needed them.
Whoa.
Yeah. No. But yeah, we'll get into my week. But anyway, that's it. I just had to bitch about that. So hopefully Roger picks up this podcast, and I hate him. I hate him.
I was just gonna say, hopefully he's listening, Mr. Goodell. If you're listening, we want to speak with you. We'd like to have a meeting.
Yep.
Greg, what's up, buddy? How are you doing?
Very good, very good. Nice to see you, gentlemen. Hope everybody had a good week. Corey, yeah, it's called global expansion, and it is definitely for the business side of things. But even more importantly, like, leave it to a Philly guy to bitch. This is like the 3rd season in that they've done this. As a matter of fact, last year, the Jaguars got taken out of 2 home games, I believe. Back-to-back weeks, they played London.
Correct.
Bill, correct me if I'm wrong, London and then Germany. So it's like, dude, there's no need to, like, it is what it is. It's helping the brand. It's helping football as a whole. And it's helping to expand things across the world where, realistically, the NFL and American football is hugely popular here, not so much in other countries. They have soccer, and that's a worldwide thing. They've got baseball, that's a worldwide thing, but they want to make football that. So
okay, cool. Brazil, get a team together and ship them the fuck over here and play. Right. And then we'll come visit you every now and again.
Hey,
it's called the World Cup. They already do that.
Right, exactly.
Whatever.
So yeah, I'm all for it. So I'm here to report that I did make it through the eclipse, through the path of totality. Armageddon, unfortunately, did not happen. No meteors came crashing down. Nobody that I know of ran out of groceries. And it was actually very weird. I got off of work a little bit early that day, and I had to stop at the grocery store, and all they were talking about was that it was going to be like a madhouse packed with traffic. There doomsday scenarios everywhere. It was eerie. It was so empty. It felt like COVID all over again. Like when COVID, you remember when COVID first started, and I know it wasn't as crazy in Florida as it was everywhere else on the planet. However, it felt like that.
COVID?
Or you guys, or good point. You know the feeling of the day after a hurricane happens in Florida, in South Florida? That's what it felt like. Like there was nobody out. It was the weirdest thing ever. But our producers got some great photos that I sent. We got I tried to take some photos with my cell phone that really don't do it justice, but I did get some good photos with a professional camera that show like that totality. And it was just very, very cool. I kind of hated on it beforehand. I was like, oh, everybody's making a big deal about 3.5 minutes. But it was during that time when it was actually in totality, it was a pretty epic thing to see and experience. So very cool. The NBA playoffs will be starting next week. I'm psyched about that. Even though I fully expect my Cleveland Cavaliers to expect a first round exit.
They've kind of fizzled a little bit this last month or so. They were so hot for a while, dude.
They were, and and we're a great young team. But here it is, dude. At the end of the day, I look up and down this team. I've been watching basketball my whole life. I'm a huge fan. We don't have any dogs. We don't have any guys that are just a son of a bitch down in the paint that aren't going to let you score. That our big, our center, the guy that's supposed to be the boss. No. Well, that dude needs a cheeseburger or 6. But I'm talking about Jared Allen, our center. Last year, his excuse when we lost to the Knicks was the lights were too bright in Madison Square Garden. And that just
says it all. That says it all.
Soft.
He's
soft, Greg, but he's
Right.
not as soft as the biggest softy, Joel Embiid. That dude is soft.
Yeah, true.
I won't cut you out there, but woo, that boy is soft.
Softer than baby shit, boy.
Watch out, dude. He's going to drop 70 points on somebody's ass.
Yeah,
He might.
He's gonna get
He
hurt
might,
in the first
dude.
round of the playoffs again.
Mm-hmm.
No, that too.
I mean, what's even more glaring, I'm not here to say that the Donovan Mitchell trade was a bad idea for the Cavs. I think we did what we could. And Lauri Markkanen, who we traded, who was part of that trade,
that's who you wanted to
gone.
keep. Yes.
I mean, he's gone on to do just great things in Utah. But I don't know if Donovan Mitchell is a true one. I don't know if he's a one. He's a great player.
The one in Utah,
Right. He's a great player. I think that if you popped him into a scenario the same way that you popped Kevin Durant into the Warriors, like into a scenario where you've got like just a real good big 3 or at least 2 absolute studs and then the right cast of supporting characters, that they'd win a few championships. That's not what I'm saying, but I don't think like in this kind of era, if you're going to build a team that way, if you're going to have a LeBron or a KD or so, like they got to be that guy. They got to be that number one guy in this era of basketball that we're playing. And it just doesn't feel like that. It doesn't feel like that. The guy takes a lot of time off.
Fired up right now.
Load management thing. And here it is. At the end of the day, the Cavs got some decisions to make because I don't see us going very deep in the East in the playoffs. Who knows? Might happen, but I don't see it happening. Boston is absolutely just monstrous. Their gap in between first overall seed and second overall seed in the East encompasses all of the rest of like there's a bigger gap between 1 and 2 than there is between 2 and 10. So the Celtics are everyone's favorite. But the bigger thing for us Cleveland fans here is just that we got to make some decisions because Donovan Mitchell's got 1 year left on his contract and and then he walks as a free agent. And I do not expect a contract re-signing this offseason. So we'll see what happens. That's what I got.
I think I don't want to get down the NBA rabbit hole. I think Donovan Mitchell is a 1. I do think, however, he would be okay being a 2 to somebody else's 1. I think if you kept a guy like Lauri Markkanen or someone similar, that's really what you need. It's not. I don't think it's. I think Donovan Mitchell's great. I think you got to surround him with better pieces. Like truly, you got to surround him with better pieces. And are we saying that Kevin Durant was the 1 on that Golden State team?
No, it's Steph Curry's team.
Okay,
It always was. No.
But yes.
But that's what I'm saying.
I mean, he was an assassin. Yeah.
Right. Kevin Durant was the 2. So you plugged the 2 into that already established team, and they were almost a dynasty in the making, right?
Well, I think if you put Donovan Mitchell, I don't know, pick a team. Let's say if you put Donovan Mitchell, I would say the Mavs, but they kind of already got that. But if you put Donovan Mitchell as the Kevin Durant on another team that's already built pretty strong, I think that team wins a championship or contends for sure.
If you put Donovan Mitchell into the Lakers right now,
I heavily disagree with that.
They run.
I think
I like
that
Donovan Mitchell.
Greg, I like him as a player, fun to watch. Can't shoot. He's not. He doesn't have the killer instinct. You know what I mean? Like he does. How much better would that team be if you had Lauri Markkanen on it right now? Screwed, Donovan Mitchell out in Utah, leave him out there. That team would be a lot better.
Really, you think so? Without Donovan Mitchell,
I think so.
Really?
Greg, what do you think?
We were good when we had Markkanen. We were right there. I mean, now granted, we weren't locked into the playoffs. We were playing in the play-in, but it still is like we were right there. We had a great team, and it just seems to me, and I don't know, I'm no expert by any means. I'm just a fan, but like Darius Garland has regressed a little bit since Donovan Mitchell joined the team
because his role's gone.
And aren't the greats out here supposed to be making everybody else better? And it just doesn't feel like that.
It'll be interesting. I'm surprised you've given up on the Cavs, though.
I haven't given up.
Typical Cleveland fan.
No.
The series hasn't even happened.
Way to twist that, dude.
No,
Twisting that all around.
I'm just being realistic.
That's what I do, baby.
I'm just being real. I was all in on them last year, and we got dusted in the first round.
I think you guys could beat the Knicks. You could probably beat a couple of these teams.
We could beat the Knicks because they don't have Julius Randle.
Yeah,
they bossed us around all series last year.
We'll see. It's going to be interesting.
I think next Friday we definitely get into some more NBA because the play-in games will have started this coming Wednesday, the 16th, and we'll record again on the 8th or on the 19th or something like that. So, all right, let's because I get deep down that rabbit hole. Watch out for my Warriors. That's all I'm going to say. Bill, round the horn. How you doing, buddy?
Here we go, baby. You know what time it is. Pittsburgh sports update time. Pirates are hanging strong, 9-4. We dropped one to Philly, but it looks like we're going to win tonight. Buccos, watch out for them now. I'm telling you, the Penguins looking like we have a good shot at taking the Flyers out and making the playoffs, baby. Ooh, we coming back, Sydney's.
We beat the best team in the league last night, so.
Well, good. That'll be fun to talk about in the offseason. Next point, moment of silence, guys. One of the most controversial figures of the 90s. Only 3 times during school was school stopped to actually watch the television. Oklahoma City bombing, the 9/11, which I was skipping class for, and the OJ police chase. Rest in peace to OJ, guys. Man, the juice was on the loose. Saw some controversial video that I forgot about OJ. One where he's talking to the reporter and he's like, I got to tell you a secret after. And he shows up at the door with a knife going like this, like making fun of the situation.
It's a menace.
If you haven't seen that clip, please watch it. But I just want to ask you guys, is OJ innocent and is he resting in peace right now? What do you guys
He's resting in fire at the moment.
Okay. That's what I thought you were going to say.
A jury of his peers. That jury
I agree with Sean. I think he was guilty, but
what's our whole system based? I don't disagree with you, Bill. But I agree. Like, what's our whole system based on? If our jury of our peers, right? That's the whole point.
What's that matter?
My point to this is, and Greg, I don't want to cut you off if you were about to say something, but my point is, people are saying some foul stuff about OJ. Like, just leave the man go. You know what I mean? So it's he's very controversial.
How long did he serve in prison?
Like 10, or was it like 5 years?
No, he
not
just
for,
got out.
not for
Years.
that. No,
For
no,
robbery.
It was for
for
robbery.
memorabilia.
Oh, that's right.
He-
Okay.
Yeah.
Someone,
Yeah.
someone,
Just shows
he
you how much I
sold
pay
someone.
attention. All right.
He was found guilty in like a civil suit or something, or held or
Correct.
found
He was-
responsible or something, whatever they call
Yes.
it.
For the murder.
And
But
then if you look it up, they never received a dime. And then
Well-
he wrote a book saying,
Yeah.
if I did it,
yeah.
this is how I would have done it. And he made a bunch of money off of
Right.
that. And the families still didn't see a dime.
So
dude.
I read today that the Goldman and Brown families may receive some or money from his assets or whatever now that he's dead. So that'd be
See,
good.
He's got that in
'cause
an irrevocable trust.
Right.
They're not going to get much. He was deep on the golf course. You know, he knew good bankers and
That
accountants.
shit's
He
hidden
was
all over the
He was
fucking
on the
world.
golf course.
Exactly.
He knew what he was doing.
Exactly.
He was a maniac.
Sweden, Bahamas, all kinds of places.
And that
And
money
not-
was tucked up.
Not just because he absolutely did do it. That's a fact. I mean, it's
Well,
plain
it's
to
not
say.
a fact.
but-
That's
In
the whole
court.
thing,
No,
but-
it's a fact. It's a fact. You guys just don't want to look at it like that. That's fine.
I-
But he's a damn menace for what you just said, Bill. That whole thing when he's making fun with the like, you fucking crazy.
That was
like,
wild.
yeah.
That
What a
was
great
wild.
football player, though. Like, that's what is so weird about this is he was so good at the game of football.
He played
And he was
football.
beloved. He was beloved. He was in commercials, movies, before he did all that. So yeah, we'll get OJ's controversial. We love everybody here. We hope he's doing well in the afterlife. Shout out
Yeah.
to him. Jesus
Him and
got
Satan.
him. No, Corey, no. And next up, we'll talk about something really funny. In Philly, do you see how they salute their heroes? I don't know if you saw this today, guys. My man Allen Iverson's got about an 18-inch statue outside of the practice facility in Philadelphia. That's how they treat their heroes. Look it up. I'm gonna have
Yeah.
Janine insert a clip of this photo,
Please do.
if we can. And it's embarrassing. I mean, what, Corey? Outside, we're talking about practice facility here.
yeah.
If
So
you get
my-
the joke, Sean.
My
But-
comment is this: that thing was pathetic, but
Mhm.
my comment is also basketball sucks, and nobody in Philly gives a shit about basketball. They love the Eagles, so
Actually, I have been
That's
to
not true at
a
all.
basketball game in
No.
your city,
Not even
quote
close to
unquote
being.
city.
it is.
And
It
they
is very
go
close to being
crazy
true.
for it.
Okay,
And all I ever hear is how great Joel Embiid is, and he has never brought them anything.
okay,
Wow.
great. Okay, cool.
I was about to defend you, Corey, when Bill said Joel Embiid was soft. I don't know why. It's not like me, but I had this urge to defend Philly and Joel Embiid, and now I will not.
But
Right.
I'm just saying. So yeah, obviously people care about basketball in Philly, but football's number one, and I don't know where
For
basketball
now,
falls.
listen, in
The next team that
1999,
goes to a championship, they're gonna love. That's it.
yeah,
That's
exactly.
the bottom line.
In 1999,
No.
okay.
I mean,
when
yeah, but no.
Philly was rostering like I don't know who the quarterback would have been, but before McNabb, even I think like everybody, you guys didn't deserve Allen Iverson. You talk about a 1. I mean, he was a 1.1. He carried that team to a championship against Kobe Bryant, which was one of the most entertaining like playoff runs I've ever seen.
Right.
The dude was unbelievable and
He was nasty.
against all
Was that-
odds. That's what I
Was that
loved
Kobe
about
and Shaq too?
him. Yeah,
Yeah,
super
that was
team he
Kobe
ran
and
against.
Shaq. Yeah.
Yeah, and he lost, but I mean, his heart, man, the heart.
Yeah, his
that he
heart.
had, crazy. I mean, he
AI
made Rocky look like a movie character. Oh wait, he's a movie character.
I have a resentment.
That's your
When
against
they
real
name a
statue,
shoe,
Rocky.
when they name a shoe after you, Corey, you can talk to us about it. Okay.
When in Philly,
Well,
they have
they-
movie character statues bigger than real hero statues.
That is a
That's how
great point. though.
pathetic
That's a
that
great
city
point.
is.
They got a statue of Sylvester Stallone that's 9 feet tall, and you couldn't even give
they
AI
worship.
21 inches, dude. I mean,
They put Philly
how
cheesesteaks at his feet every
disrespectful.
morning.
Right.
That you guys cannot even say that right now. That
I just
statue,
did.
no, that statue is a movie prop. There was a whole damn thing about why it was moved off of the steps at the art museum, and I know that for a fact because I was just there. It is in front of the art museum, but it's not on the steps anymore because it's a movie prop and not. Well, it is a statue, but it's a movie prop. It was
Okay.
deemed a movie prop first,
Okay. All right. So in all fairness, then,
and it's Philly's son.
if it's a movie prop,
Pause.
why didn't they just take it? You know what I'm saying? Why didn't they just take
Why didn't
it
they just
put
take-
it in a museum somewhere?
I don't know.
Left it there. They
Call
left
Slide's
it there. and
dumbass
it's
up and ask him.
Just because it was used in a movie doesn't mean you guys don't worship it.
I don't
It's not a
even-
statue.
Right.
I
in your
have
city.
something against Sylvester Stallone now anyway, because on the plane ride up, I watched a documentary on him, and he wasn't even born in Philly. I actually didn't know this. He only
Who
spent
cares?
I do. He only spent.
Tulsa King is a great show. Just saying.
Yeah.
But
I
have
don't
you
know-
ever heard
what
his
is that?
real story? I mean, he's
Yes.
has heart too, like Alan
Yeah.
Iverson. You guys don't respect
Beautiful
anybody.
daughters too. His daughters
Yeah.
are beautiful.
No,
Amazing.
no, I don't care. I don't care.
Shout out Sylvester Stallone.
It's what have you done for us lately? Okay, that's what I care about.
This is why I don't
All
like
right.
Philly.
Yeah.
Moving on. Bill, anything else for Around the Horn? I got a few things I want to say.
One more real quick note. Just shout
Yeah.
out to all the doomsday preppers that said the world was going to end. Like had the reasons why written out.
Took days off of
on
work and
social
everything.
media. Yeah, because like, how do you feel this week? You know what I mean? Like, damn, I wrote all that shit on Facebook. I shouldn't have wrote that. That's all I got. Shout out to those guys. We love you.
I totally missed the eclipse. I know we didn't really see much here in Florida, but I remember thinking like, all right, I'll at 3:30 or whatever time I'll pay attention. And 3:30 came and went. And it was 4:00, and I was like, oh shit, there it goes. But Greg, the pictures are really cool, so I give you that. Real quick, yeah, Janine's pictures were too. Real quick, the most iconic historical golf event is going on right now, the Masters at Augusta National Golf Club in Augusta, Georgia. It truly gets me. I was listening to it on Masters Radio because I have an app for that yesterday and today. So, I mean, I'll watch highlights and stuff, and I'll watch tomorrow and Sunday. But I was listening to it on the radio, and I was like in my car, like, ah! Reminds me of remember in what was it, Rookie of the Year, the baseball movie, when the guy gets trapped and he's like, come on. I felt like that guy, the hot ice guy. Hot ice. It's the greatest thing, but it gets me jacked up. I love golf. I am so pumped up. We got just an awesome leaderboard shaping up. You got Bryson DeChambeau, Scotty Scheffler, and Max Homa all tied at the lead. You got a handful of other guys within a few shots. Tiger Woods has officially made the cut. He now holds the streak for the longest amount of cuts made.
Don't forget my guy.
Fat Pat, I know.
Fat Pat.
Patrick Reed. He's
playing,
up there. He made the
ball.
cut. He's playing good. He's in like the top 15, I think. I got to give him credit.
15 right now. He's tied
still
for
got
15.
two more rounds. But yes, he did. And today it was blowing like 30 miles an hour out there today. Mark Urick, if you're listening, and I know you were watching, oh man, I get so jazzed up about this. So I'll touch on it next week, after it'll all be over by then. But I'm a big Rory McIlroy fan. He's playing okay. He's at like even par, 1 over, 1 under. I don't see, speaking about like a number one, like in that dog at killer mentality, God, he used to have it. And I just don't see it anymore. And I just would love to see it. I would love him to
Tiger?
No, Rory McIlroy.
Oh, Rory, excuse me.
I would love to see. No, Tiger is the like ultimate killer. Like he's not like, he doesn't move the needle. Like he is the freaking needle, Tiger Woods. He always has been. And to do what he's doing at 48 years old is unbelievable. But I would love to see McIlroy just start ripping people's throats out on the golf course. And I just don't see it. But I get excited. I know.
Was it Scheffler that was the odds-on favorite?
Yeah, he's
hanging in.
By
He's
far,
tied for first right
far and away the greatest player in the world right now, and has been for some times.
Yeah.
He's unbelievable. So going to shape up to be a good weekend. Keep an eye on that. Another thing, this is kind of I don't even know if it's a mea culpa. I don't know what it is, to be honest with you. Our Netflix doc pod last week, I've had some very intense conversations with my mother, Miss Suzanne, the last few days.
Ooh.
And I'm not laughing because like at her, it brought some stuff back for my mom. Let me say that. And I did not realize the type of emotion that it could bring up on someone like my mom.
Yeah.
And there was a part we were talking today, and like we both agree that it's possible that both of us have possibly like misremembered certain information or certain events that happened, because it literally has been almost 20 years. She specifically brought up the part in the pod last week when I said, when I was Baker acted and we saw the therapist, that she lied about something that I did or whatever it was. I don't remember for the life of me what the context of that was. It's just this memory I have that she lied out of desperation to get me the help I so needed. she doesn't think she did, and it kind of turned her the wrong way when I said that on the pod. So, Mom, I just want you to know that I love you, and we've talked about it ad nauseum. I am grateful for it. I wouldn't, as I said very, very candidly last week, I would not change a single thing in my life. Every single thing that happened got me to where I was. I know you just wanted to get me help, and I love you. And we both agreed today on the phone that it's possible that both of us could be wrong on that or certain other things. So that's how I remember it. She remembers it differently. So we've kind of just agreed to disagree. But truthfully, like really, and this is what I said to her today, like it doesn't matter. I'm so far beyond it and past it. I love my life. I have a wonderful life. And it's in large part due to her and her actions of her and my dad. So just wanted to say that for you, Mom. She didn't ask me to say that. As a matter of fact, I said, do you want me to say something on the pod this week? And she was like, no. But
well, may I interject as well real quick?
Absolutely. That's all I got,
Susan,
by the way.
We love you. We love you for sure. And how cool is it that you guys can like go and revisit that and go both sides say, well, maybe we're both off. I mean, that's about as healthy of a conversation. You know, I'm welling up thinking about it. You know, we love you. I know Sean, it means the best by all that. And we love the way he is. So send his ass to Jamaica every time.
Yeah, I'd send him right now if we could.
Because whatever you did work.
Corey.
I'm going to tell you what I got out of that, which is basically you misremembered. You never did go to Jamaica. You were never at Tranquility Bay. You were down in Little Haiti in Miami somewhere, but you deserved every moment of
crack.
it. Okay.
It was acid the whole time.
Right. And now you're reformed and running a daycare out of your home, as evidenced by the voices in the background. So, I mean, all things work out.
The ayahuasca. Thank you. But anyways, that's all. All right, guys. So a segment that I know that Bill and we've been waiting for this for months. Months.
Patronize me.
It's so exciting. We cannot wait. And I will now lay low. And am I kicking it to, let's see, Greg, Mr. Greg, Wrestlemania. Go ahead, Greg.
Woo! All right. Yes, WrestleMania 40 took place last weekend in the scumbag city of Philadelphia.
Oh, Bill just left. He just
Bill just took off. He was like, I'm out. So WrestleMania, the showcase of the immortals, the spectacle of all spectacles, took place in Philadelphia last weekend. It was a pretty epic 2-night show or shows. And so we're gonna talk a little bit about it, crack a little bit into it. Corey was obviously there, so he's gonna give a little bit of insight into his experience. I'm gonna start off with a couple of matches on the card. In both nights, there were 13 matches total, a lot of guest spots. The big ones from night one were obviously Rhea Ripley versus Becky Lynch. Brother versus brother, Jimmy and Jey Uso, Sami Zayn versus Gunther, who is the longest reigning Intercontinental Champion of all time, and of course the main event, which saw the Tribal Chief Roman Reigns and the final boss The Rock versus Seth Rollins and Cody Rhodes. All in all, I graded night one about a 7.2 out of 10. That the first match to start off the night, Rhea Ripley versus Becky Lynch, I could watch them for hours. You could have just had them as a 4-hour match and it would have been fine. I could watch mommy Rhea Ripley read the damn dictionary for 4 hours and be totally amused, so it was
she's a real tactician is what you're saying.
An amazing tactician, and
so she's articulate,
just a very astute performer.
Very astute.
Yes, yeah, and Becky Lynch, not too bad either. She's a fellow ginger, a real Irish hero.
They're probably related.
Maybe, I don't know. So the Sami Zayn versus Gunther match was awesome. It's always great to see Gunther in the ring. That dude is a phenomenal technical wrestler, and a great ending to that match that saw him drop the belt after, like I said, a historic run. The stinker of the night, in my opinion, brother versus brother, Jimmy Uso versus Jey Uso. They hyped this match up. It was going to be huge. They've been building this storyline all the way up to it, and it was what was it, Corey? Like 12 minutes, 16 minutes of just, it was trash. Both guys looked gassed after 30 seconds. They both just started laying the same moves on them. There was no storytelling in the match. There was no there. It felt like filler, and
which is crazy because they are so talented.
They're both extremely talented.
Everything else they do is gold. And then that match
was terrible. Absolutely terrible. Moving on to night 2, we had the night start off with the World Championship match with Seth Rollins versus Drew McIntyre. We had been talking about it leading up to it. Seth Rollins was probably going to drop the belt, and that's exactly what happened. This dude, let me just shout out Seth Rollins real quick. And I know a lot of people out there are like, oh, what do you mean wrestling's fake? Blah 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 blah. This dude has been a workhorse of a champion. He's held the belt for almost a full year, right? Almost a full calendar year, Corey, I think, or maybe a little bit.
Doesn't feel that long, but it probably is.
Yeah. So the dude has held the belt for that long. He has wrestled night in and night out. That's not just the TV shows that they show twice a week. It's not just the pay-per-views they have once a month. Like, this dude's been traveling the road on house shows. He's been putting up the belt, and he's been injured for almost a year straight, whether it's dealing with back issues, rib issues, knee issues.
He's the Taylor Swift of wrestling, basically.
Yeah, the dude is just an absolute workhorse, man. And so hats off to him.
So he's the greatest.
Dude, and we'll get into later on in night 2, but the guy was injured. He wrestled in night 1 versus in the tag team match versus Roman Reigns and The Rock, and then he came back and put on a match in the first thing in night 2, and then I'll get to it later. But he actually came out at the end in the main event as well. So, he dropped the belt. It was good. He dropped it to Drew McIntyre, who absolutely deserved it. And then what happened? Mr. Money in the Bank, Damian Priest comes in, cashes in his title, attacks Drew McIntyre, and pins him. And it was a great twist. I called it ahead of time. Corey's got the receipts on that one, but it was great to watch nonetheless. We had an LA Knight versus AJ Styles match, which was fun and interesting. One of the matches that I thought stole the show for both nights was this Bayley versus Io Sky for the SmackDown Women's Championship. I mean, it was a great match unexpectedly for me. I know that both girls are great wrestlers, but like, it was a phenomenal performance by both of them. It was a great match, and it was a great segue into the main event of the evening and the main event of the entire WrestleMania, which was Cody versus Roman 2. Like I said, the night before was the tag match. Whoever won that match, it determined the stipulations for the night 2 match, the night 2 main event. And the night before, The Rock pinned Cody, won the match. It was great to see The Rock. The Rock, dude, I mean, this guy, I don't know, we'd have to fact check here, but I don't know how old this guy is, but he's been doing it for a long time.
54.
He looks in tip-top shape. Now, whether or not that's a tremendous amount of gear, I don't know, but the guy looked to be in tremendous shape. He hasn't missed a beat. His promos for the last 5 weeks have made it feel like I'm in 1999 all over again. I mean, he was great. And it was an awesome time. So the main event of night 2, Cody versus Roman 2, did not disappoint. I mean, and again, hats off to all the storylines and stuff like that aside. Hats off to the tribal chief Roman Reigns. For those of you that don't know, this dude fought leukemia, right? Several years ago, fought leukemia, is in remission. And, he still has to take oral chemo every day. And this dude is out here. He just ended one of the most dominant reigns of this century of the title reign he had, which was how many days, Corey?
1,316, I believe, which is the 4th longest.
Longest. It was real close to Hulk Hogan's record. and then before that, the other two that are 1 and 2. I mean, that was back in the days when wrestling was like barely even on TV, and they held the belt for 7 years. So
Yeah.
as far as our era of wrestling, the past 30, 40 years, it was the most dominant title reign there has been. And like I said, this dude, all the while, all the people that complain about, well, he doesn't wrestle night in, night out or whatever. Like, bro, this guy's got leukemia and he's still on the road, giving it his all, trying to balance his life and with his family and stuff like that. So,
Well, he
hats
became
off
an
to him.
attraction too. Like, he
Yeah.
didn't have to wrestle that
Right,
often.
right.
It
Yeah,
was special when he did.
absolutely. But yeah, as to be expected with the Bloodline rules match, a lot of interference. The members of the Bloodline came out, and then we saw an appearance by John Cena, and then we saw a surprise appearance by The Undertaker, which, come to find out later on, it wasn't supposed to be The Undertaker. It was supposed to be Stone Cold Steve Austin, but they couldn't negotiate enough money, I guess. I don't know what fell through with that, but it was supposed to be Austin. It ended up
not enough
being
money in the
Taker.
world to get the GOAT.
That's right, baby, right here.
I'm shocked.
So, but it was a great spot by Undertaker. And then of course, what really was the clincher of the match was the fact that Seth Rollins came out to Seth Rollins came out to the Shields music, which is a faction he used to be in Roman Reigns. With Roman Reigns, he's the one that betrayed Roman Reigns 6 years ago. So it was full circle storytelling. He interfered. Roman went after him instead of just focusing on winning the match, which he could have at that point. And Cody hit him with his finisher and pinned it. And then there was a huge celebration in the ring, which was kind of cool because WWE doesn't really do this. They're really committed to like their storylines, and they're really committed to the storytelling part of it, right? So they don't very often at a live event or on television do a thing where it's like, hey, guess what? This is all fake, and we're just gonna like show a lot of respect to this guy who we all love and has finally won the championship. But that was the whole thing about this whole run with Cody Rhodes, is he was openly saying like he was trying to do what his dad Dusty Rhodes never got to do, which was win a championship. And it happened, and it was cool. And if you're a wrestling fan, it was kind of like emotional, and like it was definitely emotional for all the wrestlers. And it was really cool to see like everybody kind of come out and pay tribute to him.
Let's take a quick break.
This week's episode is brought to you by Kohler Construction, LLC, your leading roof, window, and siding expert in the greater Twin Cities area. That's going to be Minneapolis and St. Paul, Minnesota, for those of you that didn't excel in geography. So, if those 12 feet of snow have finally caused your roof to cave in, if you're still rocking single-pane windows that rattle every time the wind blows, if the eclipse burned a moon-sized hole in the side of your house, or if you just need a great value Henry Cavill lookalike to show up at your home and talk to you about golf, baseball, or general construction, then call Corey at 612-471-3248 and let Kohler Construction take care of business.
Now back to the guys.
Night 2, 9.6 out of 10 on the old Greg scale. The only things I'll say about WrestleMania, and we'll turn it over to Corey. Number one, I wish they would go back to having it one night. I don't care if it ends up being 5 or 6 hours. I know they won't, because having it be 2 nights is profitable. But what would you say, just ballpark, Corey, you dropped on the weekend? Money-wise.
Like,
You're gonna get him in trouble, Greg.
yeah, I would never say on
You're
this
allowed
podcast.
to.
first off.
Are you
That's
allowed
why I
to say
said
that?
ballpark. That's why I said ballpark.
That speaks for itself.
Right.
We'll say-
Okay, so
Pause.
there we go. There we go.
No. Full
right.
transparency, though. Honestly, like, my buddy Corey wanted to make this happen so much that he did cover a lot of the expense as far as like our arrangements, which
Okay.
was that took a. I mean, to be fair, like I could have gotten away with that stuff too. Because
Does
I
your
have
buddy
family
Corey
up
like
there.
UFC by any chance?
Not that I know. I
dang
don't think so.
Right.
Yeah.
How does he feel about the NBA finals?
What about mortgages?
or that?
Good question.
So, but here's the deal, dude, is like, all right, I will be fully transparent. we were all going to go to WrestleMania originally when tickets first went on sale. Corey, myself, and two other guys. And we were going to go, and we got online, and right when tickets went on sale, and I'm talking about if you wanted a decent seat, you were paying a minimum of about $600. That's per night for a decent seat in a football stadium. Right, so you're talking
seat, mid tier or upper deck.
Upper deck, dude.
Upper deck,
I mean,
yeah.
and the tickets sold out. So I mean, Corey, what were we looking at? It was like $12,000 to sit down in the lower bowl, dude.
Yeah,
I mean,
I'll disclose this much. Our seats were about 500 apiece, and
Right.
they were upper deck. I felt that they were good. It was a good view, honestly. But
It
we were
was.
far. We were far, but we were mid what would be midfield. We saw every entrance. We could see the ring pretty well, like actually very well. The people were just a little small, but honestly, I wouldn't even go that much lower. You know what I mean?
right, because you kind of miss some of
Right.
the spectacle. My issues is during both nights, there's a lot of filler in there, right? So we got like 2 or 3 Snoop Dogg segments in there. We got people, and it is kind of cool, like Rhea
Snoop
Ripley
Dogg
came out.
segments.
Snoop, yeah, Snoop Dogg was there. Yeah, Snoop Dogg was there.
Did he crip
Yeah.
walk?
He did crip walk.
It
I'm like crip walk his ass back to
crip walk
California.
down the aisle to gin and juice, actually. So
Yeah, with the cheerleaders.
Hang it up, Snoop
yeah,
Dogg.
but like certain stuff, dude, I guess it's kind of cool to see, like, for example, Rhea Ripley has a band that sings her song, and they actually came out and performed her song live. There is a whole spectacle part of it. Seth
Big
Rollins
time.
had the Mummers, which is a weird Philadelphia thing. Had
Weird?
them come out with them. It looked
Iconic.
it looked like the Munchkin troupe from Wizard of Oz.
I don't even think they were drunk.
Uh,
That was the craziest part.
True. But I mean, at the end of the day, there are 3 to 4 matches on that card. So 3 to 4 matches out of 13. So that's anywhere in between a quarter and a third of that card. Doesn't need to happen. It doesn't need to happen at a pay-per-view, let alone WrestleMania. Because I remember those one-night WrestleManias that were epic, and you still got to fit everything in there. I mean, Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart had a 60-man Iron Man or a 60-minute Iron Man match, and
Yep.
pulled it off, and there was still room for a whole bunch of other stuff. Like I said, to me, 2 nights feels like a cash grab. So that's all I'll say.
So I like the 2 nights, to be honest, just because it feels bigger. You know what I mean? It feels like more of a spectacle and like a big ass celebration. It is the Super Bowl of wrestling. So I'm actually kind of in favor of that. It does kind of suck though when you want to go to it and it's like, oh well, The Rock's wrestling night 1, but I got a match on night 2 that I want to see. So like it kind of forces you into really considering both nights. In my case, I was going to be on a plane for night 1 regardless. Just the way my weekend was, I had some prior obligations. So it didn't matter. I got off the plane and realized that Jason Kelsey had made an appearance, and I was pissed. But whatever. I want to start out by saying that they added something new this year to the WrestleMania experience, and it was called WWE World. And basically, it was at the Pennsylvania Convention Center, right in Center City, Philadelphia. And it, there was superstar experiences. Like you could meet superstars, you got to pay for it, whatever. I mean, it was like $60 to get in the door, and you could kind of do whatever you wanted in there. But like as far as meeting people, it was an additional fee, whatever, autographs, all that stuff. If you're down for that, there's not too many people that I really care enough about to pay that kind of money to meet. Honestly, I met Hulk Hogan in an airport once, and honestly, he sucks. So whatever. So, and then the coolest thing about that was the artifacts and like the museum section of it. You walk around that place and they have all this stuff set up from over the years, man. Things that you saw as, a child watching, Monday Night Raw or whatever in 1999 for you guys anyway. I was much younger, which means I'll die last. But man, so some of the things, I actually wrote this down so I didn't forget. Some of the things that I saw while I was there was Bray Wyatt's, what would have been Bray Wyatt's future ring attire, his Fiend ring attire that he came up with right before he died, unfortunately, and he never got to debut it. They had a full-size ring in there. The only reason I didn't stand in that line to get a picture with that ring was because you couldn't get in the ring, and I was like, that's lame. If I'm going to stand in this line for a picture, I'm going to get in the ring, and I'm going to run the damn ropes. Yeah. I'm going to stand on the top rope. Maybe not. Maybe the second rope. I'll probably do the first rope, honestly. The In Your House set. Did you see that picture? I'm hoping to send some pictures to Janine. For anybody watching on YouTube following Friday, hopefully you see some pictures, unless I fail utterly. But yeah, the In Your House set.
Isn't that where they had the Kiss My Feet match in the In Your House?
My Feet match?
Yeah, Jerry Lawler versus Bret Hart.
Yeah.
Come on now. I know my wrestling boys.
There you go.
Come on.
All right, Bill. Just went up a notch in my book. Triple H's throne. They had several Undertaker outfits, robes, and Prince of Darkness stuff. You know what I mean? From that era, the corporate ministry. Kane's summer of 2000, maybe, I want to say, his like orangey ring attire. You know what I'm talking about, Greg? I have a picture of it.
Well, orangey is not a word, sir, but
it's orangey.
I do know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Couple Stone Cold Steve Austin vests. That was cool. The iconic Raw is War banner that would hang in the arenas back then. Saw that sucker. Remember Rock's $500 shirts, which he brought back for this run. Lots of those hanging on the wall. Like, that stuff was cool as hell. And honestly, they had a documentary that they were running on A&E for a while called WWE's Most Wanted Treasures, where they would go and try to find this stuff, or whatever. They made a show out of it, the hunt for some of the stuff, Mankind's mask and all this stuff. So I knew I had to go see this stuff, given the opportunity. So that was really cool. Just honorable mention from there, we went and visited Old City. The birthplace of this great country, by the way. You guys hate on Philadelphia all the time. I don't even understand it. Without Philly, there wouldn't be a Cleveland, Ohio. There wouldn't be a Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania without Philadelphia. Yeah. Birthplace of this country. This is my time. Don't even interject. This is my segment. All right.
Good.
Anyway, we then had to
awfully assertive tonight, isn't he, guys?
I'm getting pissed about
Someone
this Philly
drink a
bashing.
Red Bull.
No. Actually, I tried to find a Red Bull at Lincoln Financial Field, and they didn't have them. Do you believe that?
Yeah, because they can't give them to you, scum. Like, you guys will burn the city down.
What did I just say? All right, moving on. We don't have time for this shit. So like I said, my buddy Corey is in town, and we had to go do some touristy stuff. It felt like we covered the whole city of Philadelphia between the time that we left WWE World and the time we walked into WrestleMania. Went to the art museum to see Rocky and all that stuff, like we were talking about earlier. Dude, like 200 people in line to take a picture with that stupid ass statue. Unreal. And like on a normal day, and I know this because I've driven past it on a normal day, like 10. Honestly, there's always somebody there to take a picture with it. It's
I would rather take a picture with him than some cut rate superstar for $60.
Well, it's more like $200, but yeah. I mean, yeah, it's whatever. I don't know. It's kind of weird. Fun fact, I told you guys this, but I missed Jake Paul apparently by like 30 minutes. He was at the museum doing a Rocky skit for the fight. I guess we'll see that come out soon. Yeah, I missed him, I guess. Like 30 minutes later, people were posting pictures with him and stuff at the art museum.
Did you see him cry at the end of the match?
Well, I would have made him cry.
No, he did cry at the end of the Cody Rhodes match. He was in the like suite, and it was like all staged on video, but he made it look real.
I'm gonna be honest. There was a lot of grown men crying when Cody Rhodes won the belt.
Yeah,
and I wasn't one of them, but I'll get into that. So, finally, WrestleMania. Greg already went through the card, so I just want to talk about a couple quick things. First off, the set of WrestleMania itself. It looked pretty great. I think it was smaller than years past. A lot of people complained about that, but man, you'll win me over with Eagles green every time, and that's what they did. So I was a fan of that. For like Greg said, the first match, Seth Rollins versus Drew McIntyre. I didn't realize how invested I would be in that match. Honestly, this whole card had me way more invested than I've been in the past. And I know that probably sounds a little odd because we know that I like wrestling. Greg likes wrestling, but they just did a really good job of hooking you this time. Dude, that cash in. I was so happy when Damian Priest ran out to cash in the contract to win the title right then and there, because there was the slight possibility that he would cash in on Cody Rhodes. And I didn't really think that they would let Cody Rhodes be a 10-second champion, but it was just in the back of my mind, like, if Vince McMahon was here, that's exactly that shit would happen. You know what I mean? Like,
Yep.
So I was just like, man, please don't do that to Cody. Like, I became a Cody crybaby real quick. And luckily that didn't happen. And, I thought it was Drew's moment. And that would have been cool because he didn't really get a moment back in 2020 when he won. Because he won in front of 0 fans because of COVID. But nonetheless, Damian Priest is the world. What do they call that title? The World Heavyweight Champion? Is that all they call it?
Yeah.
World, yeah. That the legitimacy of that belt is still in question with me, but whatever. That's a whole nother story, and I don't have time to catch you guys up on that, but they kind of came up with that belt out of nowhere one day. So whatever. Bayley, like you mentioned, Greg, Bayley was a big fan favorite after being the heel for so long. Which I don't know if did she have a face turn before this? By the way, Bill and Sean, do you guys know what a baby face versus a heel is?
Zero idea.
I do.
Okay.
Good guy, bad
Wrestling
guy.
for a long time.
Baby face is the good guy, heel is the bad guy. Wrestling terminology. You know how it says in the Grinch song, it says something about you're a heel or something? Doesn't it say that? I always thought
You're a mean one, Mr. Grinch?
That song. I think it says something about being a heel in that song. And I'm like,
Fact check coming.
the Grinch a wrestler? Anyway. So Bayley, man, she had her moment. Dude, WrestleMania is all about the moments. Like you said, it is a spectacle. I knew Corey would have a good time regardless, not even being a fan, because it is just a spectacle. Like, honestly, Sean, you could probably take me to the Masters and I'd probably have some sort of a good time, right? Probably not, actually. But I'm sure I'd enjoy your company.
He is called
Sean.
a heel in the song. Good call.
See? But is it a wrestling thing? I think. I mean, I don't know.
Well, they jacked it. Yeah, it is now.
All right. Anyway, moving on so I can wrap up. Let me talk about this.
That's good.
Dude, our producer.
You're gonna call her in here next.
So, insider. Anyway, lastly, like you talked about, Greg, Cody Rhodes winning the championship. As Greg touched on, the entire story, the story per se, these are my notes. The entire story was based on Dusty Rhodes, his father, thinking that he won the championship back in 1977. There was a match in Madison Square Garden, 1977. Don't know what day, but against superstar Billy Graham, where Billy Graham was counted out of the ring, 10-second count out. So the winner of the match was Dusty Rhodes. However, the champion cannot drop the belt in that manner.
Disqualification.
By count out. And so there's a iconic picture of Dusty Rhodes holding the belt up on a turnbuckle like he won it, only for the ref to ask for it back.
Yeah.
And that was
Awesome.
the story that Cody Rhodes was supposed to finish. He always wanted to become champion so he could hand the belt to his dad and so on. His dad obviously passed away in 2015, I think. So then the goal became to hand it to his mom. So, man, what a story that whole bloodline thing was. I mean, the tribal chief, Roman Reigns, has to be acknowledged here. I was rooting for Cody, but I was almost no less rooting for Roman because, man, one of the greatest champions ever. But I do. Well, let me say this first. The interference was awesome. You know, we expect, like Greg, like you were talking about, like you called every match. We all kind of knew there'd be heavy interference. The way they tied it all into like I mean, decade-long stories at this point, with Roman and Seth's story and everything, and John Cena and The Rock facing off. They had an iconic rivalry some 10 years ago or whatever, or even more than that, actually, like 15 years ago, right? The storytelling was just masterful. And like Greg said, The Undertaker showed up, chokeslammed The Rock. That was supposed to be Austin's spot. It would have made a lot more sense for Austin to do it. Everybody knows The Rock and Austin had a rivalry, but I guess I literally read it today that they couldn't come up with a financial agreement, which I'm kind of pissed about that. Like
That's
what
crazy.
stopped you.
How do you
That's-
not
well,
that's going to be the biggest pop of the century? How do you not, hey, Stone Cold Steve Austin, come out there? I don't get.
I'm
that.
kind
He's
of
a lot more injured. You know what I mean? In his retirement.
Yeah, but all he would have had to is run down to the ring, give.
He's
Rock
probably
a
like, I
start.
want 30 million. You know what I mean? Or
Let
some
him do it.
bananas number.
Pay that man.
Yeah.
He had a great. He came back at WrestleMania 38 and had a great match.
Yeah, he
Oh,
did
okay.
actually.
That was wild.
Yeah.
It was a great match.
But the Undertaker and The Rock did have a rivalry.
Yes.
It was short lived, but
yeah.
they did.
It's not an iconic
Not
rivalry.
like Stone Cold and The Rock. Yeah.
Right. But nonetheless, I mean, when you're standing in the crowd and you never expected the Undertaker's gong to go off. I mean, I popped, dude. I jumped right up. That was crazy. And honestly, in the moment, I didn't feel robbed at all. I'm looking at it now. I do think it was a missed opportunity for them, but I'm not disappointed. I always wanted to see the Undertaker. And then lastly, man, Greg already talked about how it happened, but Cody hit the 1, 2, 3, and that place rocked. Honestly, like I know it sounds kind of hokey and stuff with you guys because like it's predetermined or whatever. It's actually wild. What? Yeah.
He said it's
actually
not
wild.
fake.
Oh, it's not fake. Whatever. Anyway, it's actually wild how much respect WWE actually gets. The next day after Cody won the championship, he's on the Today Show. You know what I mean? Like they're a Jimmy Fallon WrestleMania week. Are you fucking laughing? Are you kidding me?
It's reputable news, guys.
It's reputable news.
How'd you do it? How'd
You're
you
right,
pull
you're
this
right.
off?
No, you're right. Jelly Roll was there just the other day too. So
Yeah.
we're
Jelly Roll kind of rocks. What do you Jelly?
I'm not
No.
saying he doesn't.
Yeah,
I'm
you know
not
what?
saying he
Don't be
doesn't.
dissing Jelly Roll now. He's a
I'm not.
WWE.
We'll save the recovery segment for next week. Jelly Roll actually rocks. And honestly, the thing I respect most about Jelly Roll is he will straight up say that he's not sober. Like he's a big advocate for drug addicts.
He's not sober or anything.
No, he's
But
not. Well, that's
he
what I'm
still
saying.
is cool, but he's not sober.
He just doesn't do hard drugs anymore. Apparently.
Yeah,
Correct.
Man,
he's high as hell talking about sobriety and shit.
right.
Anyways, go ahead, Corey. Go ahead. Sorry about
So-
that. It was just funny. The guy did Today's Show.
Two
What's wrong with the
fakers.
fucking Today
That's-
Show?
Two fakes.
Nothing. I genuinely like have enjoyed listening to you guys because I can tell how passionate you are. I mean that with all
Yeah.
sincerity. Wrap it up.
Anyway, so wrap it up. God. Anyway,
I got a question.
what?
What? Real quick. All right. So let me do something here. So I could have watched this for free on Peacock.
Yeah.
All
Correct?
of them you can. Yep.
Well, that's amazing. I will actually probably tune into some.
I get the cock.
Let
Yeah.
me, Chuck.
Yeah. You've
I
made
get
that
the cock
very
as well.
clear.
The NFL put me there. However, let me just say something, okay? Dusty Rhodes never won a championship because he stunk. He didn't deserve one, and he's dusty. That's why they call him Dusty. I want to give a shout out to all the Rhodes family, but none of them are worthy of a belt except for one person. The WWE conveniently skipped in this storyline the one and only Gold Dust. That man deserves a championship belt. They treated that man worse than freaking Hunter Biden's stepchild. They just act like he doesn't even exist for Dusty Rhodes. Okay, I'm appalled by this behavior, Corey. Okay, that's the first thing I want to say. So screw Cody Rhodes, the little emo dude. I'm all about gold dust. All right, so that's fact number one. Also, I just want to put it out there. The old school storylines of WWE could never exist today. You guys remember that? The
Correct.
Godfather, like his
Yes.
slogan was "Pimpin' ain't easy." Like, imagine that today with these people.
The Ho Train.
The Ho Train. Yeah, he had a string of women come down that he called the Ho Train.
A lot of women got their start in the Ho Train, bro.
How about
Val
when
Venus?
Val Venus? Yep, Val Venus. How about when Triple H kidnapped Stephanie McMahon, drugged her, took her to Las Vegas, married her, and then it happened in real life?
Yeah. Yep. He really. Yeah. So
What a G.
We saw Steph at WrestleMania too. I mean,
That's
that was
awesome.
great.
Steph's still looking all right.
And
That looks all right.
I just want to say my typical list, the most overrated wrestlers of all time are Sting, Roddy Piper,
Oh
Ric
my God.
Flair, and Bret Hart.
You just named a fucking Mount Rushmore.
Dude, I don't like any of them.
Oh my God.
They're all overrated. My favorite wrestlers. I'm an Attitude Era guy. What? Hold on.
I look. Yeah, go ahead.
I love
You
Ric
go-
Flair. I love his slogans and all that, but as a wrestler, he never did
True.
anything. In my opinion.
You're accurate,
right?
yes.
Am I
You're
missing
accurate.
something there? Okay,
No.
yeah, because I love his swagger. The guy's in the rap song with Rick Ross. I mean, you gotta love that. But
God.
my favorite wrestlers are Stone Cold,
Yeah.
The Rock, Degeneration X, and Donald Trump. Watching Donald Trump shave Vince McMahon's head.
That is very true, dude.
That was awesome.
That was a
Whether
great
you're a fan
time.
of the dude or not, like that was entertainment. At the time, he was just a billionaire weirdo, and having him do all that was really cool.
Dude, we wouldn't even have WrestleMania if it wasn't for Donald Trump, by the way. I got to tell you that.
Which
'cause-
leads me to my next hot take, which is WrestleMania is overrated.
Oh my
The
God.
Royal Rumble has always been better than WrestleMania, in my opinion. Also, there's always been a pay-per-view that year that was better, had better matches. Now, I don't know about lately on WrestleMania. I'm just saying, like back in the day, I remember kind of like WrestleMania would always be like a little bit of a letdown. But then again, I wasn't like a Bret Hart fan. They always seemed to have him on WrestleMania back in the day. Number one most potent finisher of all time in wrestling, got to be Owen Hart, right, guys? Got to be Owen Hart. Okay. Also, there's real wrestling going on tomorrow. It's called UFC 300. That's all I got. Back to you, Sean.
I just saw Greg's face.
Oh, God, that was good.
Let me
I
just
even got.
let
I
me
even got that one.
let me cap
Go
this
ahead,
off real quick, Sean.
Corey. We're at an hour.
I know, but when Cody hit the 1, 2, 3, the place erupted. Like I never even thought. I mean, literally people jumping up and down, going crazy. There's plenty of videos all over Facebook and everything of literally grown men crying because it was just such. I mean, it's the same thing, guys. Like, I don't give a shit what you say. When a team wins the Super Bowl and there's grown men crying because their team won the Super Bowl,
they're not
listen, bro,
rigged.
that's just a game. That's just a damn game. There's not even a story.
You talk about
Yes,
missed opportunity. The Gold Dust music should have played right there. He should have came out, whooped his ass, and took the belt. That was it right there.
Anyway, we have a new champion. His name is Cody Rhodes, and he's in it for the long haul, I think. And yeah, WrestleMania is a spectacle, man, and it was fun. I don't want to talk about recovery now,
No.
Sean. I'm fucking
Guys.
mad. I'm mad.
That's fine. You know what? We joke so much that I think you didn't think I was serious. I meant what I said. Like, I can tell how passionate you guys are. It's not my cup of tea. However, I enjoyed listening to that. Like, that was a good breakdown. You guys were both knowledgeable on it. Bill had some good stuff. I remember Owen Hart falling to his death. I remember watching it that night. I've shared that with you guys before. I remember certain things about it. I mean, I don't pretend to know a
OJ did
lot,
that too, by the way.
But
OJ rigged that harness. Piece of shit.
Push him off.
I can tell how passionate you guys
We're
are.
gonna get
So
sued by
that's
Martha,
cool to
man.
watch.
Martha Hart's gonna sue us.
Yeah.
Sucks.
Yeah.
Oh well.
I'm sorry, Martha.
Sorry.
Hey, listen, if this podcast is getting out to Martha Hart, we're doing something right. Let's just say that. So
Oh, yeah, well, if it does, honorable mention, Bret Hart, shut the hell up and stop being so damn disgruntled.
Yeah.
There you go.
He hates Bill Goldberg so
Hates.
much.
You petty.
Imagine that whole Donald Trump shaving Vince, like all that. It's like, yeah, that guy's gonna end up being our president.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, just how outlandish does that sound?
He attacked Vince McMahon too, if you remember.
Yeah,
Remember that?
I do.
He gave him a
do.
good clothesline, a couple punches.
Oh God.
He was
Yeah,
down.
he
Clippers.
wasn't holding back. He was like clobbering.
Give me the Clippers. I've never held a Clippers before, but give me the Clippers.
Nobody cuts hair like I
Who
do.
is this
Nobody.
guy?
I'll show you how to cut hair.
Nobody.
Greg, who is this guy? Umaga?
Who, Trump?
Yeah, he had a, or it was Bobby Lashley.
MAGA. Oh,
I
MAGA.
don't remember. I don't remember.
Good
Oh,
call, Bill. I
man.
never realized that.
Well,
That's where that came from.
Well, guys, this will be a seamless transition into
Yeah.
On the Beam.
Yep.
We discontinued the spirituality on the Beam segment last week in favor of the documentary. Maybe we should have done it 2 weeks in a row, but we're not.
Oh well.
We're gonna touch on something. We're each gonna go around real quick, and this is how we'll finish out the show. I will say, guys, let's just be mindful of time. Let's do 3 to 5 minutes apiece and wrap it up.
Mine's gonna be a minute.
This is an important kind of step in our recoveries, because an important point in our recoveries. This is kind of like, we're at the point we've talked about amends, we've talked about inventory, trying to set right the wrongs we've done in the past and do the best we can, the living amends, walking forward, and all that stuff. And I just want to kind of run down like a few bullet points in a piece of our literature, and I think that kind of will be my portion of this. It sets the stage. This is kind of the most practical of the recovery, segment, the recovery stuff for me, because this is what we're going to talk about tonight and in the next 2 weeks after this, but especially starting tonight. It's the most practical. It's the one that I can use the most day to day and throughout my day, and when things crop up. So the piece of our literature, it says, continue to watch for selfishness, dishonesty, resentment, and fear when these crop up, right? I'm not cured. I'm not perfect. I'm not emotionally balanced in every area of my life, even though I've improved. So when these crop up, when this selfishness, the dishonesty, resentment, fear, etc. crops up, it tells us to ask at once for God to remove these things, right? We go to God first. We go to God foremost. We go to God right away. We're not talking to 8 different people trying to get the right answer or the answer we think we want. We're going to God first, and ultimately we're letting God be the judge and the deciding factor on if we should go seek human counsel on the issue, right? So watch for these things, ask God to remove them, talk to someone about it immediately. Typically it'll be someone else in recovery that understands, but anyone that just is moral and ethical and that can give good, solid advice. Make amends if we've harmed anyone, and then, resolutely, right? Keyword resolutely being turn our thoughts to helping others. Doesn't automatically mean go help the little old lady across the street with her groceries. Maybe she doesn't want help. Maybe she's trying to rehab that hip and she wants to do it on her own, but it says to turn my thoughts to helping others, right? Get out of self. Maybe it's a phone call to someone that's struggling, or just someone to check in on. We talked about, going and putting shopping carts back at Walmart, or paying for someone in the Dunkin' Donuts drive-through for behind you, and all that stuff. There's all kinds of little things we can do. We turn our thoughts to helping others, and I think that's the most important thing. Bill, it was actually perfect because Bill touched on it when he shouted out my mom and how cool it was that we could both kind of come to the table and be like, you know what, maybe we were both wrong. We can admit that today. That's kind of the whole essence of exactly what we're talking about, right? This continuing to take personal inventory, and when we were wrong, promptly admitting it. Like, that was something that was not even anywhere in my vocabulary or anywhere in my headspace prior to getting sober. But this idea that it feels good in a weird way. It feels good to admit that I was wrong, and what can I do to make it up to you? And I want to do better, right? So that's it for that. I think this is important. This is because, like, when we recover from the seemingly hopeless state of mind and body, what recovered does not mean. It does not mean that I am perfectly healthy and well balanced in every single area of my life all the time forever. I'm still human. No matter how long I've been sober, no matter how involved in recovery I am, I'm still going to make mistakes. So the ability to, and people are sometimes shocked when you say, hey, you know what? My bad. I shouldn't have acted like that. I'm sorry. I want to do better next time. And that garners respect from people. So looks like, Bill, you're going to be up next. Go ahead, buddy. Take it away.
Yeah. Sean, you pretty much covered it. It's really cool. It wasn't staged that you got to do that kind of in relation to the topic in the middle of the episode here. So if you're watching and paying attention and you want some of that, that's what you got to do. Stuff like that. Like Sean said, it took the thought out of my head. Like I never thought it wasn't in my vocabulary to admit I was wrong. It was never taught to me to admit you're wrong. You fight and lie or whatever, manipulate everything you can to be quote unquote right, and at what cost and what are you winning? I wasn't winning anything. I don't usually tell stories like this, but these are the main ones that are coming up to my mind right now. When I first got sober, I was dead broke. I mean, I went like a month where I was homelessness, dereliction for a while. I was like having to blend in on community meals and things like that at the place I was staying. So we're on our way to a meeting, and I look down outside the car, get out of the car. I look down in a Publix grocery lot, and there's like $30 sitting there on the ground. I'm like, perfect. I put it in my pocket, and what I do, I make the mistake of telling my buddy who's recovered about it, and he said, "Dude, you need to figure out if someone dropped that in this parking lot. Like they might have needed that." And I was like, "Oh man!" And so then we went over, and we just asked I tried to keep it light, but I asked the general area, like, "Hey, did you lose something?" And no one said yes. And I actually ended up holding on to the money. Really needed it at the time, which I was like, "Thank you, God." You know what I mean? However, the point is, the mustard seed was there that like it felt good to actually try to think about someone else, even whenever I knew I really like needed it. I would have done I needed food at that point. Fast forward a couple years ago, and it was sometime in December a couple years ago. I'm walking through Walmart and I find an envelope filled with money. I mean, filled with money. And my original thought that I thought when I saw that money, hell yeah, the extra Christmas gifts for the kids this year. I picked it up and I'm like, I looked at it and I go, dude, someone had to have just dropped this. And it had to have been really recently. And I don't need this. I don't need this money. I don't need this money. Like I don't need food today. And I look over and I see this. It had to be this lady. She had like a loose pocket on her, and I went over and I just said, "Hey, did you lose something?" And her face was like, and she went right for her pocket, and she goes, "I had a card and it had X amount of money in it." And I go, "Here you go." And the look, she said, "You just saved my Christmas." You know what I mean? You just saved my Christmas. I'm only sharing that to try to help people, not to pat myself on the back, because it really like it gave me confidence in my morals of life, my moral compass. But not only that, it wasn't right. It was that lady's, and I was able to give that back to her. You know what I mean? So that was like full circle experience of things like that. So I mean that's my best experience with it. Sometimes today I still struggle when I know I'm wrong, admitting when I'm wrong, but sooner or later that dam breaks. You know what I mean? So thanks to guys like the guys on this podcast that help me hold me accountable. They love me enough to hold me accountable and tell me when I'm wrong. So I'm gonna pass it on to who is it, Greg?
It's gonna be Corey next. That's good stuff, Bill. Thank you for that story.
Okay. I'm gonna try and I'm just gonna say one thing real quick or two. What? Don't do this, Sean.
I can't wait to hear what you have to say, Corey. Go ahead.
This is definitely something I struggle with. I think the longer I stay sober, the more difficult it is to admit when I'm wrong. And in fact, I've grown to truly hate it, to be honest. I know that there's freedom on the other side of it. I know that like, clearing up what would become wreckage along the way is the best way to live, for sure. Because when it becomes wreckage, and then it festers for a while and turns into whatever, resentment, fear, I mean all that stuff, like you mentioned, Sean, resentment, fear, all that stuff starts to run your life again when you're not taking care of things pretty much on the spot. So yeah, man, it's something that I certainly struggle with, which is definitely part of the reason I don't even want to talk too much on it. But I will say, Bill, like you were just saying, man, I had an experience early on in recovery, kind of a similar thing where I went to a gas station to buy X, Y, and Z or whatever, and went to the counter to pay for it and realized that she hadn't rung up all the stuff that I was purchasing. It was like, sweet. Left that gas station. Awesome. I'm in halfway. I need the money more anyway. Whatever. And by the time I got in the car, I was like, damn, and that kind of showed the psychic transformation that had already happened, because in the past I wouldn't have even thought twice probably about it, because that gas station doesn't need my couple dollars. So I went back the next day, made it right. She had the cashier had no idea what to even do. She was like, "What, do you want, a soda or something?" It was like $5 I owed her. She's like, "Do you want a soda or something?" And I was like, "No, I just need to give you the $5." Like, she's like, "Well, I don't even like I don't know to ring up anything or what. I don't pocket it. I don't care. It's not mine anymore." So, my side of the street was cleared. So, it is stuff like that honestly surprises people, but it has a ripple effect, and I think it, kind of passes along some positivity too. So that's all I'll say tonight.
Very nice, Corey. Thank you, buddy. Take us home, Greg.
Let's say, all right. I love what you guys have said. And again, in honesty and transparency here, I don't always want to do the right thing either. Sometimes it feels good to, kind of, dance around in that again every once in a while, man. But I get checked on it, and I certainly, like you guys were saying, the wreckage that I caused, that I carried so much shame and guilt for so many years, I don't want to cause that to people again, right? So and the big thing I got to remember in terms of permanent recovery is that I am never cured of alcoholism and addiction, right? I have to continue to watch for my messed up thinking, my behavior, and be honest with myself. And that's really what the principle here, and we've said this is the principle about this whole deal in recovery is honesty, but also about this, the other piece of this is awareness, right? I'm learning to watch my actions, check my behaviors. I'm learning how to spot the moment when I give up my inner connection or my serenity and kind of devolve into my more beast nature, if you will. When I move from a conscious connection into an unconscious disconnection from my higher power, right? So if I'm taking daily inventory of my actions, my behaviors, I start to spot all these things that Sean talked about that kind of rule us in the first place: the selfishness, dishonesty, resentment, fear. It's vital for a guy like me to recognize this stuff and set it right when I'm in the wrong, and sometimes I can kind of conduct this mentally right on the spot. I think that's what we kind of all hope for. Sometimes, it's an immediate thing. I can recognize that I'm being an asshole and correct it before I do hurt somebody. And other times it takes like a period of self-reflection, and I got to pick up a pen and a paper and write it down, and that always helps me immensely to do that, because I really get to examine a piece of where I'm really at fault, and like Sean said, it's freeing when you do that. I kind of look forward to that. In a not self-masochistic way type deal, but just a true honesty with myself. When I do this stuff, I know that my connection with my higher power is strengthened. I get the gifts from this kind of spiritual experience. And it means that I don't have to fight with myself or others. I start to think in a sane fashion again, much more logically usually. And most importantly, the desire and the obsession to use drugs and alcohol, they get removed, right? My higher power removes those things. There's no daily struggle with it, like I've talked about before. Kind of like the picture of what recovery is that we struggle and we don't. That's not my experience. I know that's not the experience of the guys I'm on this podcast with and a lot of other people we know. There's, like I said, there's no hiding away from it. There's no triggers or cravings that pop up in my life. The problem of getting high and drunk has been removed from me. Now, the problems I have left are me and how I choose to allow the world to affect me, right? But as long as I keep up with the daily spiritual enrichment of this program, and checking my behaviors and checking my actions and kind of turning that all towards a God of my understanding, that obsession that plagued me for so long stays gone. Thanks.
Very good, guys. I think the self-awareness part is a huge thing. Like I am pretty ultimately aware of who I am today, what my strong suits are and what my downfalls are, and the things I need to work on and the things I'm really good on. And that, like, to have an accurate description and accurate depiction of myself and who I am, God, it truly is priceless. And it could have only happened once I got sober and have done this work. So
I have things I want you to work on too, so I'll let you know. I'll text you.
That's fine. That's fine. Put it in the chat, Corey.
Will do.
Guys, this has been fun. I love it. Any parting thoughts from anyone?
No.
Anybody got anything they want? No. Well, in that case, guys, shout out to our listeners. Shout out to Danny P and the Yukon Huskies, back-to-back national champions, in pretty convincing fashion. So he can relax now. He's been on edge for the last couple of weeks, Mr. Danny P, but he can relax now. Thank you for your support. Please like, follow, share on all socials at Trudge Report Pod. Email us, trudgereportpod@yahoo.com. Send in your requests for topics. We're starting to throw some ideas around for some guests and some ideas and other topics. I mean, we have a whole holster of them, but please, if there's something you want to see, I know one of my uncle-in-laws, I guess you would call him, talked about a cryptocurrency segment one week. So we're going to dangle that out there. We still got Monsanto on hold, and we got some cool ones next week, and we just got a lot of cool stuff. But we would love to hear from you, and if you have any topics, questions, concerns, comments, any of these handles, remember we are all here. If anyone wants to talk about recovery, our experience, or if you're struggling with some form of addiction, thank you again to Janine and Stella Mix Podcast Management, and in the famous words of Mr. Martin Lawrence, Yo tango, el gato, los pantalones. Cheers, everybody.